Hello, everyone. This is Lewis, one half of the Why Aren't You Normal Epsom and Epsom and Your Family's live streams. Just while I'm giving everyone a chance to head over here, the thousands of people that are going to flock over when they see this notification pop up on their phone, I'm just going to do a little bit about some news that has happened this week in the technological/internet world as a whole. And then we're going to bring Dee in from the Epsom and Your Families to continue this Sunday sessions and look back about what's happened this week in Epsom. So first of all, on the list, while I wait for the hordes of people to arrive, the UK's first UK yoga union is standing up for its £900 million industry to make sure they get their own fair share. The V&A, the Victorian Albert Museum over in London, has launched its first 1.2 million item strong digital platform that spans over 5,000 years of history. And the UK Department of Education last year has issued 1 million laptops and tablets now to schools and councils throughout the country. I think all them things speak a lot about the way the world's going, especially the V&A one. I really like that one. So without much further ado, now I can see we've got everybody here. I'm going to continue on to the show. This is a Sunday recap of what's gone on in Epsom and Your Families and the Why Aren't You Normal Epsom podcast page this week. See you with Dee in just a hot second.
Why aren't you normal, Epsom? You're listening to Wayne with Lewis Stevens.
Wayne.
Good afternoon, Dee. Can you hear me?
I can indeed. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. It's very weird that we have to pretend like this is the first time we're speaking when we've just been in a little lobby beforehand.
Yeah, and spoken for about half an hour already this morning.
Yeah, we did. Did you like my little piece on the UK Department of Education's 1 million tablet incentive that they brought in last year?
Yeah, absolutely. Picking up on the laptops, just wanted to give a shout out to our local Epsom Food Bank, Epsom Your Food Bank, who has been working hard with local schools to ensure that no child is at home without a laptop. It's really important that all children have the resources they need for their education for homeschooling right now.
Yeah, and speaks wonders for what their view of the future is going to look like in terms of, what's important for education now. Just a few people saying hello. Hello, Kat Heath. Thank you, as always, for joining us. One of our number one fans over there. Goody. Yeah. Kat says you're looking stunning, Dee. We've got a few guys on YouTube. Ben Ramphel says it's his favourite time of the week. So thank you, as always, for everyone that's turning up. If you're liking it and you're interested in what we're talking about, get involved. This is a community conversation. So, Dee.
Yes.
So a week of Wayne and Epsom and Your Families. What's it been looking like? What have we got up to?
Yeah, and talking about Kat, we had Kat on the stream on Tuesday. She's one half of my handyman, which is a handyman service for the local area, and really touched on the fact that it's great now that we are all so busy that we have these affordable services around to help us with all little bits and pieces that we've got going on that we need doing in our homes. And I think for most of us, we're so busy all week that actually we don't want to spend the whole weekend doing DIY. I know I don't. What about you?
Yeah. I think for me, it definitely highlighted a big problem with the sort of place we found ourselves in today is that everybody finds themselves being ultra busy all the time. Yeah. But really, I don't think it's a case is that we're really busy. I think it's a case of we've got so much on, and for me anyway, personally, it's juggling all the things available with me to my time and making sure that I'm only focusing on one aspect of one thing in the time, if you know what I mean.
Yep, definitely know what you mean. I think for me, the flip side of that is having a family. We really don't want to spend the whole weekend doing bits and pieces of DIY. I remember when I was growing up, my mum and dad both worked full time, and my dad was always doing bits around the house all weekend. He could build a kitchen from scratch, a bathroom from scratch. We at our house are definitely not qualified to do that. I remember when we first moved into our first flat and tried to put up a mirror, ended up with like 2 holes, what should have been 2 holes in the wall, ended up being 8. So it's great to have a service like my handyman
I remember if my mum's watched, I'm not sure if she is, but there was a time where they tried to set up some curtains that we had, and the curtains ended up being too long. And they cut the curtains at just the right height to show off something unsavory that I don't want the whole world to see as I was walking past my window. There's this whole thing about what I'm trying to say there is spending some time on what you're doing. And I think a big sort of issue with what we're trying to come to grips with this new technology that we've got at our fingertips is too many of us at the moment are trying to balance too many things at once. So maybe in the past we had a lot more time because there was less things to be entertained by. There was less things to do. So you could spend an hour getting really into making a kitchen cabinet. But nowadays, because you've got that constant distraction of potentially going on Facebook, potentially going on Instagram, watching that new Netflix series that you really want to watch, it actually takes away from you experiencing any other aspect of your life. And then the analogy that I put to you about it, it's like, imagine you are peeling some potatoes, but you've already made a steaming big pile of apple crumble and custard on the side. And that's just wafting at you the whole time. And it's got to the point where you are like, all you're thinking about is the apple crumble, but you need to peel the potatoes so you can eat your dinner. And it steals your experience of peeling the potatoes as well as dreaming about eating the apple crumble. And you end up not getting into either task whatsoever. And it sort of ruins your whole perception of what's coming in. And sort of, I read a book recently, and I'm waffling a bit here, but they said how you need to be really invested in just one thing. If you're trying to do one thing and do something else, it actually tires out your brain so much that you can't do all the things you need. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, definitely. And you're not enjoying the moment. And also sometimes I think going back to busy doing lots of different things, you end up not actually finishing any task.
Yeah. Or having any sense of achievement maybe over a task. Yeah. Or, you know, even if the apple pie is next to me and I refrain from eating that apple pie the whole time, you know, but I was dreaming about it so much and putting it on such a pedestal that by the time I got to it, I'd already sort of had the experience of it. So it hindered it. Whereas if I'd have just focused on peeling the potatoes, first of all, I'll be peeling potatoes a lot quicker next week. So I can get to that apple crumble a lot quicker. And two, by the time it comes, you know, it's that long-term gratification rather than an instant gratification. I think you can tell what I've been doing this week for dinner.
I was just going to say, now all I can think about is apple crumble or apple pie.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing one. Talking about making your own stuff, we'll get back to Wednesday, but on Thursday in the Wayne live stream, we had the Epsom Bakehouse on. Yeah, and that was Rhiannon, who basically set up a business, first of all, where she was making her own bread and sell it on market stalls. Then next, she was selling it at the market. And then the lockdown came along and she innovated her business to be teaching classes online. Now, she's one of your clients, Epsom, and your families. So I guess take it away with her journey.
It's been, I mean, she's been running her business a good few years, but it's been really inspiring to watch her actually take lockdown, take it head on and think about what she can do to continue doing what she does, and watching her move her business online and do it quite in a smooth transition has been amazing to watch. And I've used her as an example to other clients to go and see what Rhiannon has done and achieved with doing so, and they felt inspired to kind of look at how they can change their business and still run in a different capacity.
Yeah, especially as we know the world's going online from not the whole world, but from the last year, and the fact they've donated 1 million laptops and tablets to schools and councils around the country proves how sort of big, like, in fact, she might be running a business model that in the future is going to be one of the main ways local and small businesses operate on this free open space, where you don't have to maybe monopolize on local business. You can go global with an innovative idea, just like Rhiannon's done.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Also, I think it's important for businesses. Sometimes you're focused, and it's not a bad thing to be focused on one thing, but what lockdown has shown to us is actually you can be shut down at any minute. So it's quite nice that now she can go back to face teaching if she wants to, but she's now got another string to her business, so she's still got revenue coming in.
Yeah, and I guess that comes from balancing both aspects of your life. So maybe like this last year was a short, sharp hit of internet and technology. There's going to be a time when we're going to probably like bounce back and start to sort of go back to a version of normality again. And it's sort of maybe about finding that perfect relationship between technology and the real world.
Yeah, definitely. And I would recommend that to any type of business that can. Obviously, not all businesses can move to the online world, but it's definitely now's the time to look at, if you can do that, how you can do that and how you can continue doing that going forward, as well as doing the more traditional business.
Yeah, cool. That's a really good way of thinking about it. And then we had Wednesday as well, which was with Avia, personal trainer.
Yeah.
And that was a live stream, which I really found quite interesting, because over lockdown, as many people have probably been doing, is getting into exercise and looking about how they can change their habits and noticing how much the brain and the mind really controls your outer performance of life. And that was something that Avia really sort of preached. And we came across something called the 1% a day theory, which is basically the idea of changing just 1% of yourself a day. Now I'm going to take it back to the apple crumble analogy, if that's the right of you. Because imagine you are eating apple crumble every day and you've decided that nobody can hold me back from life. I'm going to eat apple crumble whenever I want because I'm a free elf and I can do what I like. My theory is, how free does that actually make you? Because if all you're ever thinking about is crumble, leaving no room for anything else to do, you will eventually crumble. So now fast forward a few bad habit like crumble induced months, and your cholesterol is quite high because you're only eating crumble. You haven't exercised in weeks. You don't know how to make any other food but crumble. So you're living some kind of Groundhog Day crumble existence, and your only vice is crumble. How are you going to change your whole aspect of your life? Like all these problems that has come up at once, it probably comes from a 1% a change day, if you know what I mean.
And I think the reason why people sort of fail from going, actually, I'm really, really unhealthy, to I want to change that, is they go full steam ahead. Right, I'm going to go and run on the treadmill for an hour. I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut out, sugar completely. And actually, those changes straight away, so harsh and fast, actually it's not sustainable. But if you change things little and often and keep consistent with that over 6-month period, you're going to notice a massive change. But on a daily basis, that change might not seem very big.
Yeah, and over 6 months, if you make a percent change a day, you'll be 180% better than you first was. And the way the theory goes is, you won't even realize you've made that change because it's become so slow. And right, if anybody hasn't clocked on, change apple crumble for negative thought cycles, for anxiety, for a substance addiction, for another kind of addiction. You're consuming something that you know too much of isn't good for you, but you've found yourself in a place, maybe like I have been in the past, and especially over lockdown with technology, where you actually can't, you can't, it's too much for you to try and stop your crumble addiction at once. So you'd make a small change. It might not seem much, but lots of small positive small changes. I found this, I'm not preaching to anyone, by the way, lots of small changes over time will eventually, you will become that change, and it's a lot more manageable, bite-size ways of doing it. So maybe don't eat the whole crumble, take a bite less of it next to tomorrow, then the next day before, then you ain't even got to make a crumble for the week next week.
And talking about habits, good or bad, it's 28 days, a 28-day cycle. So if you do those little bits every day, after 28 days, it's just going to become a natural habit to you.
Yeah. And you won't even notice. That's the whole refreshing. That's the whole refreshing part of it, And if you're aware you have a problem with something, don't try and tackle it all at once. Is the way. And even if look, we're probably not. We're maybe doing it semi-justice with the apple crumble analogy. But typing on YouTube 1% a day change on. There's so many brilliant videos where this guy will explain to you. And to take back to Avia, using a personal trainer is hiring a service where it's personally suited to what you need. And that's a big way the internet has connected so many people, because it can personalize your experience. Now, I know I was sort of like arguing about the algorithm last week on Facebook and how bad it can be, but equally it can be very good for you, because it can find out exactly what you're into and what you're interested in, and make sure that you see and you get connected to the right service and the right content to help you.
Definitely. And I think going back to Avia and being a coach, I'm a massive believer in having whether it be a coach or someone that you buddy up with to help you along to reach those goals that you want to in life, whether that's health, fitness, whatever that may be.
So what have you done, Dee, on your journey from starting up when your families, you built it into this incredibly successful community that we all getting to enjoy today? Have you felt like it was a slow, if you looked back over your whole career doing it, what was yours? Was it a slow one step at a time thing for you? Because to do it all at once wouldn't have been possible, I guess.
No, and it was a slow burner. I mean, lots of things that have happened with Epsom Ewell family has happened organically, and some stuff I have sort of focused on. But I always said to myself, when Bobby, my youngest, who's now 8, once he starts school, that was going to be when I was doing lots of different things, a bit of charity, a bit of networking, a bit of this, a bit of that. But I knew once he started school, I was just going to focus on one thing solely and spread my wings a bit. And that's when I decided to launch the directory.
And I guess for me, like in my journey of what I've done so far to get to where I am now, which is sort of where I'm really starting to find my feet, has taken like so many different avenues and platforms and trials and errors and jobs and things like that to get here. And if you'd have sat me down in this chair right now without doing any of that stuff, I wouldn't have feel relaxed as I am now to do it. So it's like that whole sort of process of doing things 1% at a time and you know, and trusting in the process actually a lot of the time.
And I always say to some of the businesses that I work with, and especially in that first year, it's not all going to happen quickly. And actually, you need that year to sort of find your bits, because actually what you thought might have been your business and what actually it grows into might be two different things, because there's some things that you're going to like and there's some things that you're not going to like. So you'll get surprised.
And you might think you want, like when I did the bike tour a couple of years ago, I thought that I wanted to vlog the whole way around and I thought I wanted to be a vlogger. Realized I hate vlogging when I was going around. Not hated it, but it wasn't what I enjoyed doing so much. So I basically had to go through that whole experience where, you know, and it felt rubbish. And then I didn't want to do it anymore to eventually get to a point where I could say goodbye to it. And I guess it's the same as running a business. I guess it's the same as doing these live streams, you know, and it's about constantly being aware that you're making a positive change with well, this is me, I'm not telling anyone to live, but I was aware that I am now becoming aware to be a lot more comfortable with any step that I take and understand that it's a 1% change to an ultimate better goal, and we'll see how that turns out, I guess.
And definitely with these live streams, I know some of the businesses that said I want to go on and do it, but I feel really uncomfortable. I feel like I'm going to be out of my comfort zone. And I think it's really important to actually push yourself out of your comfort zone and learn from the experience.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and everybody's reporting that. So, you know, if anybody's watching this stream and wants to come on that hasn't already booked in, like, come on. I've had nothing but positive feedback from anybody who's been on, saying they feel really awesome for getting to talk about themselves and explain what they're doing on a brand new platform. And as me and Dee's have covered earlier, like tablets and the internet and the website world are getting huge. And, you know, this is the way it goes, and it's better to get a step ahead here. We're at 18 minutes, so I guess we should. Our biggest thing is obviously it's Valentine's Day today.
Yeah, it's the day of love. What have you been up to?
So it sparked a huge debate in my flat with my girlfriend that I live in about what Valentine's Day should mean. A very positive debate, by the way. It didn't end up in a row, and we sort of took the time to assess what we meant by a relationship. Now I'm going to say a gripe, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with me here, okay? Because I've been proven wrong for this conversation that I've just had with Alex, but I still hold by my thing, and this is sort of something I'm observing and witnessing over with the modern world, and especially as we're using technology, is that sort of sometimes I have a base layer belief that's like social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook are very much about, for younger people, validation by how you choose to project yourself. It may be a way that you don't quite understand yourself yet, and you know, you're sort of posting an image of your face that you love and hope other people love, which so you can love it more, to help you make you feel loved. And that's sort of a bit of a gripe I've got. Now add on Valentine's Day, which is actually about love, and it like can send me a bit sort of, I just think that, you know, it's using it. It's so hard to explain really, like so shortly, but it's just understanding what people are getting from social media and sharing sort of not putting too much of yourself online, and maybe focusing on something as quite deep as a connection of love, make it maybe like focusing your attention on the offline world with them as a person. But I've been turned around to say that not everybody thinks about algorithms and things when when they do social media like I do, which I will accept.
And that's what I think you and I touched on this earlier. For me, if I was to post anything, not necessarily to do with Valentine's Day, it's not for validation, but then we're you're a lot younger than me, so you see things differently to I do, and that's why it's good to have these chats to find out different points of views. So for me, Valentine's Day has been about giving the kids cards, obviously my partner, sending messages to my friends saying happy Valentine's Day to them. It hasn't been about a showy, let's show what we're doing on social media, but then the younger people, or not just younger people, that's how they want to show their love today. And is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, I think it's there must be a better way or platform of expressing someone's love. Now, Alex, my girlfriend, said some people are just genuinely proud of what they have and who they are, and they just want to show off an aspect of their life. And they just want to use it. Whereas I sometimes worry that people might be holding, I don't want my personal life to be put into comparison. Because if you post a picture of me and my girlfriend and it didn't get much likes, whether I like it or not, it will pop into my head why it didn't get enough likes, and there's an aspect of the world there that I don't want to encroach on something I see as quite deep and spiritual. I think that, the platform can be superficial. It can encourage superficial behavior. Do I really, and I'm not saying everyone does it, but I'm saying, do I really want to give it that much respect, to try and then treat and put my self-worth to it, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's harder now because we are in lockdown. So we're not seeing people face to face. We're not getting that sort of love and feedback that we would usually do by seeing our friends and family face to face. So I can only imagine, especially for the younger generation, that they are feeling nicer when they get the likes and the loves or whatever it may be. But I guess for me, I'm talking about my children, it's about letting them know and reiterating to them about what they see in social media is a filtered version of the truth. And actually, they should feel at ease and comfortable about being their own authentic self online. And I think also people now do see through what is authentic and what's not real.
Yeah, I think you're right, and we are developing with our use of these tools of social media, and not seeing it as all in all reality. And I think it should be not strictly, but I think we should just maintain that social media is awesome for sharing a message, and awesome for getting ideas out there as a community, as a group. But to sort of treat your self-worth as, for me, to treat your self-worth as how much response you get online to you as an individual, not a community, then you need, like you said, teach kids to realize it's fake. But how many kids do that is obviously the question, because there is rising rates of mental health problems with teenagers and things like that, and you've got to ask why. And I think, the biggest change that we've had is social media. So do we look in that direction and try and understand why that might be causing an issue? Is my thought.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think, and this is going back to conversations that we had last week about using social media responsibly and in a positive fashion, that actually we can gear or steer our children into following things that aren't just about what you look like. And also there are things that you can unfollow. If there's things like you're seeing, like the perfect couple doing the perfect life, and that's making, I'm not saying you necessarily, but you feel a bit icky, then actually you can remove yourself from that.
Yeah. And again, I mean, if you don't treat it with the amount of respect as, if you understand this couple isn't what they're saying they are, maybe there's things that go on behind the scenes and you don't need to live up to that own standard in your own life. and also be more responsible with the way you consume this media. So don't spend all day, you know, we were talking about being busy earlier. Every time you get a spare second, maybe don't pull out your phone and then look at it and be shown this sort of reality of life that doesn't exist. And then when you get sucked back into your own reality, you know, and then you're suddenly not comfortable yourself and you're balancing left, right, and center, all these insane things. Like I sort of wrote something earlier about it that when you know, you might be thinking like, what's the problem with being busy? But if you're there reading a book or trying to get on with your daily activity while you're thinking about something that you just saw on your phone that made you think of an anxious or unsteady relationship with a person you haven't seen in 5 years about a time that was 10 years ago, how are you ever supposed to focus on the present moment? And I think being responsible of what you're consuming and taking online, maybe dedicating yourself an hour to it, you know, a night.
Yeah, an hour's quite a short amount of time. But yeah, no, I do think you're totally right. There's got to be times when we just go, right, time to put the phone down, time to stop consuming and time to actually live in the here and now.
Yeah, and develop for me, it's like because of lockdown and being more mindful of that approach to my life, I get more out of my social media use because I'm actually taking it in because I'm there to do it. I'm not doing it because I've got a spare second, you know, which actually ends up tiring out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, and this is not necessarily to do with Valentine's Day, but it's definitely to do with love and spreading the love. So I get messages and social media. I get messages now and again from my mum just saying, you know, I'm proud of you, I love you, and blah, 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 this. And sometimes I share those on Facebook. And then I think afterwards, should I be sharing that? Because obviously some people have lost their mums, some people don't have nice families for whatever reason. And then at the same time, I think, well, why shouldn't I share such a lovely thing? It's happened, and actually maybe that might inspire somebody else to send a message to someone. So it can be like a chain reaction.
Yeah, like demonstrating an example of something good, isn't it? I guess, and and then it's just hard, isn't it? Because an online space is, you got so many opinions and so many people are allowed to express those opinions that they might not agree with you. And then I don't know. I guess it's like, are we going to get to a point where we actually we have this open thing, but we still confine ourselves to these little worlds that we are in, just because it keeps us happy and it keeps us sort of you know, on a good roll with life, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe, but I think once we're over lockdown, social media use and online use will go down because we'll be out and about living life as we should be, and social media will be just an add-on. And not everything.
And I guess I'm coming from somebody who's just spent a year analysing and being on the online world, and you know, and I think we all just can't wait for us to be able to get back together again and push forward and get to see everyone again. All right, Dee. Well, look, that's another Sunday session. Do you reckon over and completed? I think that was very successful. So,
and we've got this week. You've got coming up on the lockdown sessions. You've got on Tuesday. Alan Wilson from Alan Wilson Dentistry. So it'd be good to talk to him, and I'd love to hear about how he gets his patients over the fear of actually going to visit the dentist, because lots of people are scared of the dentist. I don't know why, because it's all to do with good health, but people are. Then I think on Wednesday you've got Claire from Inspirational Interiors, which is going to be really good, because obviously we are spending a lot more time at home, and are we using our homes in the best, and the space in our homes in the best way possible now we are working and living in them. And then on Thursday you've got Katie from Pipsqueaks, who is another business that's had to look at their business and transition it to online, and she runs parties for kids. So it's nice that she's been able to put that service on, because kids still need to be connected with their friends, and they can't do that without the online world.
Yeah. So that's the week in the Wayne / Epsom and Your Family live streams. Anyone who's still sticking around, I have a podcast coming out Tuesday with Nathan Hanwin, who is an award-winning film director. He went on tour with a famous band called Sleaford Mods. They won all, and he was 24 in his second year of uni and raised £23,000 to get the opportunity to do it. The documentary was incredibly political and covered some awesome places of England. And that's coming out on Tuesday on the Why Aren't You Normal Epsom Spotify page and WaynePodcast.com. Really, really, really good chat. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Sorry?
I said, you got a busy week.
Yeah, busy week. Yeah. We got there's loads coming up. There's all sorts, but stay tuned. I don't want to bore everyone just yet. All right. Well, thank you, Dee. Thank you, Dee, for this as always. And we'll see. I guess we'll see everyone next Sunday, and I'll see people on this platform on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. as well.
Yeah.
See you later.